Assalamualaikum and good day. In this introduction, I will briefly explain two main references, which are PRISMA 2024 and the Environmental Quality Act 1974 Act 1 to 7. Firstly, PRISMA 2024 is occupational health guideline that focus on psychosocial hazard in workplace. It emphasizes psychosocial risk assessment and management, addressing issues such as work-related stress, excessive workload, conflict, violence, and harassment. The main objective of PRISMA 2024 is to prevent mental health issues and improve overall employee well-being. Next, the Environmental Quality Act 1974, also known as Act 127, is Malaysia's primary environmental protection law. This act regulates air, water, and noise pollution as well as waste management. It is enforced by the Department of Environment (DOE) with the aim of preventing harm to humans and the environment. In conclusion, both PRISMA 2024 and the Environmental Quality Act 1974 play important roles in ensuring a safe working environment, protecting employee well-being, and maintaining environmental quality.
To start with, how does the PRISMA 2024 protect the community? First, we have the implication for society at large. The management of psychosocial risks, as outlined by the ISO 45003/2001, standard English with PRISMA, with impact overall workplace well-being. Next, we have the supporting community contribution, state of individual well-being who can cope with normal stress, who work productively, ensure safe, healthy, and inclusive work environments that foster and safeguard the mental health of employees. Lastly, we have the preventing harm. By preventing harm to employees' mental and physical health, control and minimize this risk in the workplace, PRISMA facilitates the identification and preventing of physical-social hazard, promoting a healthy workplace. With all this factor, it will contribute and give a healthy workplace for the workers, as they provide medical checkup for the workers, meaning that will give the worker energy for them to work productively. Next, how does the Environmental Quality Act 1974 protect the community? First, we have the controlling pollution and protecting beneficial use. That is the hazardous or potentially hazardous to public health, safety, or welfare. The atmosphere, such as atmospheric pollution, inland water pollution, soil pollution, noise pollution, and Malaysian water pollution. There are many ways to avoid this pollution, and with this act, we can control it by doing the ways to prevent it, such as like plant trees, avoid throwing rubbish in this river, and much more. Second, we have the regulatory control and licensing and conditions, control volume, types, constituents, and effect of waste discharge, emission, and depots, setting acceptable condition, maintaining equipment. So we have to have lesson. If we want to, throw waste, we have to have lessons, because sometimes the chemical waste, usually chemical, we have seen chemical being thrown in the river, and that is not a good way to dispose the waste. So industry usually have the lesson and the right way to throw the waste safely without harming the environment. Lastly, have the Environment Impact Assessment, EIA. That is mandatory reporting to prevent, reduce or control the adverse impact on the environment. That is a provable requirement by the Director General approve. So meaning that this EIA is something that the industry workers have to do a report and have to be approved by the Director General to record, and it will be the ways to reduce from more accident that involve and impact the environmental negatively. So with the record and we have the data safe to prevent and reduce this accident from injury our environment. With that, we have the way to make our environment a better place.
Next is a witness of the act. There is two witness of the act of PRISMA 2024. First is not a clinical diagnostic tool, which is PRISMA is a screening tool used only to identify workplace psychosocial risk, factor or hazard, and it's not a clinical diagnostic tool for mental health condition. Second is exclude non-work related factor. That PRISMA is the guideline that doesn't cover non-work related psychosocial risk, factor outside of employment such as non-work related and personal factor need to be assessed separately from the PRISMA process. Next is witness of Environmental Quality Act 1974 at 1 to 7. Environmental Quality Act 1974 have 8 witness of the act. First is weak enforcement and compliance, which is Environment Quality Act. Despite a stringent regulation, pollution remain high, with the firm often avoiding certification costs. An incident like river pollution highlighting weak control during a project implementation. Second is lack of expertise and resources. That Environmental Quality Act 1974 has a shortage of trained environmental experts and resources hinder effective EIA studies and overall pollution control, require reliance on foreign experts in some cases. Next is outdated framework. Is the act struggle to address modern challenges like climate change impact, drought, flood, and the rule of technology ICT requiring continuous update. Number 4 is economic versus environmental priorities, which is a short-term economic gains often overshadow long-term sustainability, with policies sometimes failing to integrate sustainable development principles effectively. Next, number 5 is jurisdictional inconsistencies, which is a state level of variation in passing and enforcing environmental laws, create uncertainty and lack of uniformity across measure. Number 6 is inadequate penalties, which is penalties for environmental offences are often seen as too lenient, failing to deter polluter, especially for a serious crime like illegal toxic waste dumping. Next, number 7 is limited public participation, which is the EIA process, while Crusher faces challenges including public participation that is delay project and need a stronger public involvement. Lastly is non-coordination, which is poor coordination between agency and lack of commitment contribute to effective implementation of environmental law and policies.
I will present three PRISMA case studies. The first one, case study 1, a Mazda company, which is a small company that voluntarily joined PRISMA and found high job control risk among its employees. This leads to improvements in job clarity, the work environment and career development. Case study 2, talk about KGB company, which is a company that has different units that face a different psychosocial risk. The booking unit lack job control and digital unit struggle with high work demand, and the distribution unit had weak job support. Each team required tailored actions to fit workload, communication and support each. Lastly, case study 3, which is Sri Cempaka Bulan Government Agency that ignore early warning signs in its audit department. Problems escalated and went viral, forcing the reactive PRISMA implementation. This highlights the consequences of delayed intervention. Overall, these cases show how early assessment and targeted action are crucial for managing workplace psychosocial. Next, we will explore three important Malaysian case studies that highlight the growing seriousness of environmental protection and legal enforcement. The first case study, which is Lim Kiat Ai versus Public Prosecutor. In our first case study, Lim Kiat Ai was charged under the Penal Code and the Environmental Quality Act for discharging pollutants and noxious substance. He requested bail, arguing the offences were not security related and that he had health concerns. However, the High Court refused bail, emphasizing that environmental pollution threatens public health and security, even comparing such acts to terrorism. This stance reflects Malaysia's commitment to curbing river pollution that endangers communities and the national water supply. More case study 2, which is Taman Rimba Kiara. The second case involved Taman Rimba Kiara, where the Court of Appeal cancelled a proposed development project in January 2021. The project would have caused irreversible environmental damage to the park ecosystem. The Malaysian Bar welcomed the ruling, calling it a victory for the community who fought for years to preserve the green space. The case also highlights the need for stronger enforcement power under the Environmental Quality Act to address increasingly complex environmental issues. Our final case takes us to Pasir Gudang, where a strong chemical smell in 2019 led authorities to discover illegal chemical dumping in Sungai Kim Kim. Immediate air quality monitoring, hazmat involvement and public health advisors were activated. The dumping, classified as a severe environmental offence, result in investigations under EQA with possible penalties of up to 500,000 and 5 years imprisonment. Together, these cases reveal a growing recognition of environmental harm as a threat to public safety, community well-being and Malaysia's natural heritage. They emphasize one message, which is strong environmental law and enforcement are vital for protecting people and the planet.
In conclusion, a positive psychosocial work environment plays an important role in improving employees' mental, emotional and social well-being. When workplace conditions are supportive, employees tend to have higher motivation, increased productivity and better job satisfaction. On the other hand, poor psychosocial conditions can lead to stress, burnout, anxiety and reduced performance. Healthy communication and good working relationships are also essential in creating a safe and comfortable workplace. Organizations benefit greatly when they prioritize psychosocial well-being by implementing supportive policies and good workplace practices. Overall, promoting psychosocial health helps create a healthier, safer and more productive workplace for everyone. And last but not least, I will discuss several recommendations based on the guidelines on psychosocial risk assessment and management at the workplace PRISMA 2024 and how these recommendations support the objective of the Environmental Quality Act 1974 Act 1 to 7. Recommendation number 1, that conduct regular psychosocial risk assessment. First, employers should conduct a regular psychosocial risk assessment in the workplace. This assessment helps to identify psychosocial hazards such as excessive workload, time pressure, workplace conflict, and lack of managerial support. By identifying these risks early, organizations can prevent work-related stress and protect employees' mental well-being. This recommendation is in line with PRISMA 2024, which emphasizes early detection and proactive management of psychosocial risks. So number 2, integrate psychosocial risk into occupational safety and health policies. So the second recommendation is to integrate psychosocial risk score into occupational safety and health policies. Mental health and psychosocial well-being should be treated as part of workplace safety, not as a separate issue. Organizations should develop clear procedure for managing stress, preventing burnout, and addressing psychological harassment or bullying. This approach supports a preventive safety culture as promoted by PRISMA 2024 and contributes to a healthier work environment. So number 3, provide training and awareness programs. The third recommendation is to provide training and awareness program for both employers and employees. Training should focus on stress management, effective communication, and mental health awareness. This program helps employees recognize psychosocial hazards and encourage them to seek help when needed. By increasing awareness, organizations can reduce psychosocial risk score and promote a supportive and productive workplace. In conclusion, implementing psychosocial risk score assessment, strengthening workplace policies, and providing proper training are essential steps in managing psychosocial hazards. This recommendation not only protect employees' mental health but also support the goals of PRISMA 2024 and the Environmental Quality Act 1974. Thank you.
Rewalk my boots in that bar. Re-say, hey girl, what's your name? Re-meet your mom and your dad. Re-buy that same diamond ring.